I'll tell you what, man. My heart is heavy, and my stomach is in knots because of the news of the passing of Chris Mortensen, my one-time and long-time colleague, actually two-time colleague, and I consider a friend. Just somebody who, in many respects, Michael, he was to me at ESPN what you were to me at the Boston Globe, as in he was a friend, he was a mentor, he was a colleague. He was one of the best teammates that I've ever had and that anybody's ever had.
Explain it, because I've heard people say that. I've heard people say, tell me why. Like what? Give me some examples.
Sure. He was much more about the we than the me. His concern was, as big a deal as he was, he never carried himself with an ego. And in this business in general, the sports media business in general, but specifically in the insider game, it can be cutthroat. It can be really cutthroat. Where people are more concerned about getting the glory and getting the credit than they are about team success. He was all about ESPN's NFL coverage being top notch and us getting the story right, whether his name was on it or not. And I would even fast forward to the last 2 years, with Amazon Prime Video and Thursday Night Football. I've held the title of news analyst, but Mort was always a phone call away for me as a resource, as a sounding board. Never hesitated to share notes or information. Just an unselfish dude. And, I would say, but going back to when I started at ESPN, the reason I liken him to you is like, well, even before then, because I know I'm like a lot of people who watched him for years and years. And once it became apparent to me, to young Michael Smith, that I was not going to be like Mike, I wanted to be like Mort. Okay? Like, I wanted to be that NFL insider. I loved nothing more, than watching all 12 rounds of the NFL draft over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday before it became a Thursday, Friday, Saturday thing. Loved watching the entire draft, lived for the NFL draft, and therefore consumed a lot of Chris Mortensen's information and content. But what I always loved about Mort, and you as a journalist, I saw the same thing in you and modeled my game after yours as well. I feel like one of those prospects. Who do you model your game after? Michael Holley, Chris Mortensen. It's like, I'm 44 at this point. I'm done modeling my game, but at this point in my life, very impressionable. And I'm watching how Mort, the thing I always loved about Mort is Mort wasn't one of these guys that was obsessed with being 5 minutes early with a transaction. He wasn't somebody who was just worried about being first with the story. Hell, he wasn't even playing in the game of he had his, don't get me wrong, he broke his fair share of trades and cuts and obviously retirements. Peyton Manning comes to mind. But Mort was more about the story, the insight, the information, the story behind the story. Mort always made you feel smarter. And that's because of the relationships and how he made people feel. I could, because that's the old saying, people remember how you made them feel. Chris Mortensen made a young Michael Smith feel like he belonged, feel respected, feel valued. He made me feel, like I was on his level, quite honestly. I'm 24, 25 years old, covering the NFL with Mort, John Clayton, and Len Pasquarelli. One of these kids is not like the other, okay? And I'm a national NFL insider, having just, come from the Boston Globe covering the Patriots. It's like, Mort could have easily shunned me. And there's a lot of cats who might have, or who did, if we're being honest.
I was
Mort could have easily...
keep going. That's right.
Mort could have easily, seen me as competition or a threat, or made me pay more of my dues than I already had. Instead, put his arm around me, looked out for me. I could genuinely say that dude looked out for me, and I know I speak for a lot of people. He looked out for a lot of people in this business. He's not only universally respected, he's universally admired and loved. Like, I don't know anybody that's got a bad thing to say about Chris Mortensen. And that's hard in this business, because you make a lot of friends, but you also make a lot of adversaries as well. But everybody seemed to love Mort. And he was a glue guy, man. Like, that's at a time in an industry and at a place in particular that's not always friendly. It's like everybody kind of just rallied around Mort, man. And I had that feeling that you get when somebody passes on. It's like, damn, I wish I'd have called him one more time more recently, because again, like these last 2 years with Amazon is like, because he was working behind the scenes with Amazon. And so I'm thankful for that, because it allowed us to get even more connected, to get reconnected. But, I just wanted to cover the league the way Mort covered the league, and by that, I mean, obviously, have my own style, my own voice. But by that, I mean, as somebody who just made viewers and listeners better, and readers better and smarter, but still maintain the respect and the credibility within the league with the people that he covered. But he just was such a good dude to work with, man. Like, and I'm at a point in my life, Mike, and I know you are too, where it matters way more, not where I'm doing it, not where I'm doing what I'm doing, but with whom I'm doing it is way more important. Yes. And I look back and I value the experience of working with a guy like Chris Mortensen. Like, I got a chance to work alongside him. Like, he's a legend in this game. I got to learn from him, got to talk to him, got to confide in him, got to get, counsel from him. He just was a solid dude. And I'm my condolences to his family, his friends, his loved ones, his extended family, his colleagues, again, of which I am one. But, I'm at peace knowing that he is resting in the arms of his father, of his Lord and Savior. Like, he was just, he was a real one, too. And he was a good one.
You talking about that?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. No, he was a real one. He was a good one. Just a solid dude. Who, like I said, I'm proud and honored to have been able to call my friend. And if I could be even a fraction of the reporter that he was, an insider that he was, then I was doing something, because he set the standard, Mike. He set the standard for sure.
And all those things you say about his work is true, and we all know that as football fans, not even as journalists, commentators, just football fan. You're a football fan, and you're of a certain age. You just remember, just waiting for that Mort report. What is he going to say? What does he have to say about this? If something happened during the week, you want to hear his take on it. If you're wondering about a situation, you want to hear his take. He would break news as well. Just did a little bit of everything. But I think for us here, anybody who's in our business, what you said about him as a teammate and as a mentor and as somebody who looked at the business, that's something for us all to strive for. Like, if you're doing this, that's something to strive for, because a lot of that is lost. And some people who are listening to us, who are interested in the business, they have no interest in doing what Mort did. They have no interest in that, because the business has changed. And there were lots of people who got into the business at a certain time, before it merged a bit, before you had writers and radio people and TV people and podcasters and streamers and everything all in the same stream. There used to be a separation. So with the merge, there have been a lot of opportunities, which is good. There's a lot of money, which is good. But some people who are in it for the trappings and the profile and the money, which is not good. So I just think it's good to remember you're here to tell a story, to find the story, and help somebody who needs a little bit of a boost. You're here to help the next generation. So I think we should remember that. Seems like he modeled it, seemingly from day one, and I think we can learn from it.
Yeah, no, dude. dude did it for any and everybody. There's a lot of people that's got the same type of testimonial that I do, to whom he has meant a lot to their careers. I'm not alone in that number, and it was just because it was the right thing to do. To your point, it wasn't because he was looking for anything from me. It wasn't because we had some kind of history, or other than like, yo, you're on my team. Like, how can I help? How can I be of service?
That's great.
He had a servant's heart, and gave me a respect that I had not yet earned. You know, I had nowhere near the bylines or the experience he had, but yet treated me as an equal from day one. Probably my favorite assignment. What would that have been? What was the CBA year? Was it 2000?
Lockout?
11?
2010, 2011? Yeah, 2011.
Okay, yeah, I remember being in D.C. with him. This was when Robert Kraft and I think it was Jeff Saturday embraced outside the NFLPA offices. I remember being in D.C. with him, covering the lockout. You know, spent a lot of time with him on the road, spent a lot of time with him in Bristol, obviously. Spent a lot of time on the phone with him. I'm going to miss him. And speaking of the phone, it just, you know, it's just another example of like, yo, make that phone call, man. You know, no man knoweth the day nor the hour. Make that phone call.
Yes.
Send that text. You know, because I'd love to pick his brain. Again, if I could, I'd love to pick his brain about the combine. As we transition into an event that he helped make what it is. Like he covered and he worked with the best of them. I'm sure he had a lot of shrimp cocktails at St. Elmo's and a lot of meals at P.F. Chang's and walked the streets of Indianapolis looking for scoops.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.